Hi, so it's the beginning of 2016, and over the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give you our view from IDTechEx Research as to who is spending money on IoT and why. So, my name is Raghu Das from IDTechEx. We're a market research firm, and we've been tracking IoT and other emerging technologies for over 15 years. If we look at the IoT market in particular, we see that it really comes from two existing worlds of very different systems. The first are the conventional personal interface electronics that people have, things like phones, tablets, computers. This is a large, mature market. It's over 2 billion devices a year, with an average price of hundreds of dollars each, so a market of well over $1 trillion each year. Everything else in terms of wireless ID and sensor systems until recently have been very fragmented. They're doing different things, generally locating, tracking, verifying and reporting about the condition of things like cargo containers, clothing, other assets, animals and so on. These are very application focused. The applications are fragmented, siloed, and the market size is roughly around $10 billion a year this year. And the highlight of that is something like 10 billion passive RFID tags at a price point of less than 10 US cents each. So this new world of IoT that we're seeing come in over the last few years really coexists with all of that. And in the main, it's about internet-connected nodes, so nodes with an IP address, which will coexist with these other types of systems. There's different drivers, though, fundamentally for these. For example, people buy personal electronics because it's a necessary tool, whereas with IoT IP nodes, people will buy them usually for a payback calculation, or they want improved safety or security. And so the reasons for buying it are very different, and also these IoT nodes will be usually integrated into products. Some of the existing ID and sensor systems may be replaced with IoT IP address systems, but in some cases where the existing legacy systems work well, there may not be much need to replace them. So we'll see some change there, but in the main, IoT IP nodes are really going into slightly new areas, doing things that existing legacy systems have not done before. So let's get to the heart of the matter. Who is really buying these and why? Well, many of the companies that we look at and we've interviewed in IoT are focusing around industry and enterprise. Here, the challenge is that many of these organizations do not just try IoT for experiments and see where they get a payback. It tends to be adopted where there's a specific problem which the IoT system can address. And a challenge with IoT is that even though if it was fully deployed, many people could get a payback because they could share all the benefits, that in itself is not, we believe, a reason for it to be rolled out. Usually it needs one specific application ROI to be rolled out, and then that justifies the system, and then it can be built on and developed from there. So the challenge there is for companies to identify those environments. Then we have government applications, and here government's actually been a very big driver of IoT. If you look at things like smart meters, utility companies wouldn't have elected, in my opinion, to roll this out themselves, but governments came in and they mandated the need for smart meters, and so as a result it was rolled out very quickly. And we've seen that in many other cases involving ID and sensor systems. Then there's consumer markets, and these have the potential for the highest amount of growth by creating benefits that consumers are willing to pay for and preferably willing to pay a premium price for. We also have this perfect storm of large cash-rich companies who may be facing saturation or commoditization in the markets they operate, and therefore they're heavily investing into new things. We've seen a lot of acquisitions as a result in the IT space. Sectors here include home automation, with the leader doing sales of about $500 million in 2015 for things like thermostats, but also applications around connected vehicles. So in terms of analyzing the flow of money, which is something we do here at IDTechEx, is we provide advisory and knowledge-based services to our clients. We have found in our extensive research conducted worldwide that most of the money in IoT is coming from government-led projects. Either they are funding it themselves, such as in the hospital environment, where the US Veteran Association Hospital, Veteran Affairs, has received orders over $500 million for a real-time locating system project given to HP, to smart meters, to smart cities, where hundreds of millions of dollars is being invested by governments in improving their cities and infrastructure. From a consumer point of view, home automation is leading, with the biggest, as I mentioned, about $500 million. Vehicle connectivity is also gaining momentum, and wearables will also be a key application area. And in industry, the focus isn't necessarily on supplying billions or even hundreds of millions or even millions of nodes, but the winners, at least in the short term, in industry are people providing complete solutions where there's much more value around the whole system provision, the software, the integration, as opposed to the hardware nodes themselves, at least in the short term, because we believe in industry, based on the assessments of case studies we've done, most of the applications are much more targeted there. So the ones to watch out for: utilities and energy applications, wearables and healthcare, which we believe will dominate IoT adoption over the next few years. Our research provides a full forecast and very detailed information on all of these things. We break down forecasts by dozens of application areas, and that's based on speaking to suppliers, but also end users in each of these categories. So take a look at our website, IDTechEx.com, for more information. And to complement that, our events also bring these topics to the forefront. Our events on the Internet of Things, which we hold in both Europe and in the US each year, is one of the largest in the world on the topic, bringing together several thousand people and several hundred exhibitors. And critically here, we assess what are the business cases of the Internet of Things and Industry 4.0, identifying the added value opportunities where companies can hear from major adopters and case studies about what they're looking for and what they need from IoT. So that all-important reality check, take a look at these events and our research. Thanks for listening. I'm Raghu Das, the CEO of IDTechEx, and I hope you enjoy the session.